Good afternoon and a warm welcome to this Facebook live stream for our quarterly newsletter, the Billabong Bulletin. The newsletter comprises a dedicated section named Interlocution, for which our editorial board interviews distinguished personalities from diverse domains. Along with our editorial board, we also have our alumnus, Gurvind Singh Sahni, who after his diploma from IHM Mumbai, trained at JW Marriott Juhu and worked at a Latin Asian fusion restaurant, Tori, in Mumbai. He is now a food quality inspector in the Indian Pavilion at Dubai Expo 2020. He specializes in Asian, Indian, and Latin American cuisines. Today, we have the privilege of interviewing Chef Jerson Fernandes, Executive Chef at Novotel Juhu Beach, Mumbai. I would like to request Mannat, our editor-in-chief, to take us through Chef Jerson's profile. Mannat.
Thank you, Megha ma'am. Chef Jerson Fernandes, a Guinness World Record holder, is the executive chef at Novotel Juhu Beach, Mumbai. He started his career as a dishwasher, but with sheer passion and resilience, rose through the ranks to become executive chef in a span of nearly 12 years. After graduating from IHM Hyderabad, his culinary journey began as a management trainee with Accor Novotel Hyderabad and Convention Center. He embraced opportunities spanning the P&O Cruises, Taj Hotels, New York-based Berggruen Hotels, Ritz-Carlton Marriott Hotels, and the Novotel Goa Dona Silvia, becoming the very first chef to give Goa its first award-winning plant-based vegan restaurant bar. Chef Jerson Fernandes has various accolades to his name. They include the youngest, most talented sous chef in the Middle East for the Marriott Hotel in 2011 and the most creative budding chef of India in 2014. Chef Jerson's extensive experience, both locally and internationally, led him to further discover his creative freedom and earned him the Emerging Executive Chef of the Year award and the Best Executive Chef of the Year award in 2018 and 2019, respectively. He was recently recognized by the Chief Minister of Goa for his culinary contributions to the state and for promoting Goa tourism through his culinary offerings. He is a gold medal recipient, which was bestowed upon him in October 2018. He also received the Star Chef of India Award in October 2019. From championing underrepresented cuisines at food festivals to hosting live cooking sessions to mentoring budding chefs across the country, Chef Jerson Fernandes is truly a trailblazer in the culinary field. We are truly honored to have you here with us.
Thank you very much, Mannat.
Thank you, sir. And also joining us for this interview, we have Ms. Megha Bhatt, our editorial and communications coordinator, along with the members of the editorial board, Divyani Sadho, Nilotma Singh, and Amya Tuteja. We also, of course, have our alumnus, Mr. Gurvind Singh Sahni.
Thank you, Mannat. Thank you so much for that introduction. Now let's hear Chef Jerson and talk all about his journey and the plans he has in mind. Our editorial board is very excited for today and are ready with their questions. With your permission, we would like to start with those.
Sure, please go ahead.
Chef Jerson, we are not able to hear you properly. Please adjust your mic. And meanwhile, our first question will be taken by Gurvind. Gurvind, please go ahead.
Thank you for the introduction, Megha. Hi, Chef.
Can you guys hear me? Very well, thank you, Chef.
Yeah. So the first question is, as you would know, the kitchen industry has taken a drastic, change of form into the field of culinary arts. Please tell us a little bit about your experiences when you first tried to put forward ideas of modernization.
So look, the culinary art is called an art beyond imagination, first of all. It is not only the presentation of food, but also the aesthetic presentation together with the aroma, the taste, which is further intensified by virtue of culinary techniques and practices. Secondly, it is an art beyond imagination. It is inspired, it remains experimental, and is continually learning through practice. When I say this, is getting new ideas, implementing them, putting them in, getting out of the
Chef Jerson, I'm sorry for interrupting in between. Chef Jerson, there's a connectivity issue at your end. Maybe we are not able to hear you properly.
All right, one second. Is it any better now? Can you hear me?
It's cracking a little bit.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, it's fine now.
Hello, can you all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Please
Well,
go ahead.
talking about modernization. Well, for us to understand modernization, I think we need to first see what the word modernization means. And food modernization can mean improving the ways in which food is treated from farm to the fork, and this is necessarily includes making the product more desirable or safer. Modernization food is also about using ingredients and cooking techniques from other cuisines, cultures, which still retaining a touch of the local. When I talk about modernization, modernization doesn't necessarily mean using different modern techniques, but also involves a lot of ancient techniques. If you look at the platings done by a lot of chefs today, a lot of youngsters today, a lot of budding chefs today, you'll see a lot of edible flowers, you'll see a lot of colors on the plate, you'll see a lot of vibrant plates, you'll see different techniques of cooking being infused together. Gone are the days where chefs used to use white plates or other simple cutlery, simple crockery to serve food. Everyone wants to be trendy, everyone wants to be unique, everyone wants to be quirky. So you've got the wooden planks coming in, you've got the granite stones in, you've got pebbles being served on the plate, you've got wooden platters being used, you've got fiber, you've got glass. So everything's being looked into. People want to serve food with a twist of taste and flavor. People want to serve food, which speaks for itself. And as they rightly say, in today's world, if the food isn't Instagrammable, it isn't supposed to be on the plate. But for me, honestly speaking, flavor comes first, taste comes first, and then followed by the look and feel of it. The aesthetics come later. So modernization really wouldn't really mean serving food with a twist of taste and flavor. It would also mean serving food with a twist of flavor, ensuring the flavors are intact, ensuring the techniques are in place, and ensuring you don't go wrong with your basics. Yeah.
Well, modernization requires a lot of research and gaining new experiences, that's for sure. Let us move on to our next question. Our next question will be by Mannat, our editor-in-chief. Mannat, please go ahead.
Yes. So my question to you, Chef Jerson, is that since you played a huge role in opening of the first vegan bar in Goa, Amalia, so what do you think is the future of vegan food in a country like India, and how important do you think is food sustainability?
Well, at Novotel Goa, we integrated the values of sustainable gastronomy into menus of healthy alternatives. My initiatives are inspired by ingredients which enable me to depict culinary artistry, creativity, mindful eating, and empowering people with cuisines diversity. Thus, establishing the fact that the connection to sustainability begins with food. India, for that matter, has integrated vegan diets as a lifestyle change, and vegan meals are depicted as healthy, nutritive, and an empathetic and conscious effort. Well, when I began Amalia, which is the first award-winning vegan restaurant bar in Goa, uh, everybody kind of wrote me off because coming to a place like Goa and eating vegan food doesn't really do justice to the culinary palates of people out there. Because when you say you're going to Goa, all that comes to your mind is seafood. The crabs, the lobsters, the prawns, the pomfrets, the kingfish. And when I landed in Goa in the year 2018, and I seen that there's a lot of scope for coming up with a vegan restaurant, working with some of the finest vegan chefs in the world, worked in almost 14 countries, and then worked with some of the best vegan chefs. I thought it was important, it was imperative to give Goa its first vegan bar. And when I say vegan, I don't necessarily mean obstructing people or rather preventing people from entering, people wearing leather belts, wearing leather watches. No, I mean, not to that level. But then when I say vegan, I meant serving plant-based food, serving everything which comes from plants. Okay, anything which comes from animal, be it butter, ghee, or any dairy product would be forbidden. So sticking to the basics, we decided to open opened the first vegan bar of Goa, which was Amalia. That's right in the lobby. Uh, First few weeks, I felt it didn't move well because it was very difficult to convince the locals. It was very difficult to convince the local crowd over there coming in. You had a lot of tourist inflow as well. So it went really well with the Europeans. It went really well with the people from Latin America, people from Europe, Western regions, because they knew what veganism is all about. They knew what vegan food means. But trying to convince a local or trying to convince an Indian who's never even heard the V of vegan before was very difficult for me because the first reaction was, अरे यार गोवा आए हैं क्या तुम ये घास फूस खिला रहे हो यहाँ पे हम मच्छी खाने के लिए आए हैं नॉन वेज खाने के लिए आए हैं. So it was very difficult, it was very challenging. But then as days went by, educating people, telling them what vegan food is all about, differentiating veganism from vegetarian food, differentiating vegan food from keto diets, and a lot of things like that. It took me a while, it took me some time to understand that yes, there is a good market, there is a lot of scope for vegan food in Goa. And then first 2 months I didn't experiment much. I just stuck to my basics. Second month, third month, I started infusing a lot of molecular thing into vegan, making it more interesting, making it more appealing, making it more enticing to the people coming to Goa. And then slowly and gradually it became the talk of the town. People started visiting Novotel Donna Silvia only for the vegan restaurant. Um, and it was wonderful to see hardcore carnivores coming in only to say I want to try the vegan food from Chef Jerson Fernandes's kitchen, and that was quite overwhelming because uh, knowing someone who's been living on meat for years and then coming only to try the vegan food was quite an achievement, and this gave me a lot of repeat clients. And as I say, the taste of vegan food, you can't compare it with any other non-veg meal because it's quite different. The flavors are different, the textures are different. It's unique. If you do not know how to pair flavors, if you do not know how to pair ingredients, you might go wrong, and uh, the results might be quite devastating. But then once you know what vegan food is all about, once you get your basics right, and once you know what your clientele wants, I think there's sky's the limit for it. And that's exactly what happened. I infused a lot of molecular gastronomy into it. I infused a lot of fun on the plate. I infused a lot of different flavors, different textures. So every time I see a guest walking to the vegan restaurant, I used to go up to them, tell them the story of how this restaurant came into existence, what vegan food is all about, love for nature, love for animals, and why I myself chose to become a vegan chef. So people heard you out, people hear you out, they listen to you, they connect with you emotionally, and I think it's all about that. If you cannot connect with your customers emotionally, no matter how good a chef you are, you would never be able to crack a deal. So worked well with me. At times didn't work well with me. Some people bought my idea. Sometimes the idea flew. Sometimes it doesn't fly. And but I think it was a wonderful learning experience. And then I think in a span of 6 months I was awarded Goa's first best vegan chef. And yeah, so that was a feather in my cap, and I would always cherish it because it's got fond memories attached to it. So do you get an opportunity or do you get a chance to go to Goa to try out the vegan restaurant at Novotel Goa Donna Silvia? It's one of its kind. And in case you're an animal lover, you love animals, there's a lot in store over there. A lot of books which I've handwritten have been kept over there. A lot of stories about how a particular dish came into existence. So every dish has a story. Every dish tells you a lot about the chef. Every dish tells you a lot about what's happening in the kitchen. And I think all my dishes have a lot of stories attached to it, and that's what makes it different from the other plates. I think I have answered all your questions to veganism and to Novotel, Guadana Silvia. If I haven't, I'm more than happy to share more of it.
I would also love to know your views on food sustainability. And of course, very difficult, a brave and an excellent initiative taken by you to introduce veganism in a place whose culinary scene is so different from a vegan diet. So, and your efforts to grow Amalia definitely have been amazing.
Yeah. See, chefs, chefs will always remain catalyst for food consumption patterns, behavioral changes, and propagating awareness of and commitment to the environment. I think it's imperative to connect with Mother Nature. It's imperative to connect with the environment. It's important to know where your ingredients are coming from. It's important to connect with the farmers. It's important to connect with the fisher folks. it's very, very, very important. It's imperative to know where your ingredients come from, where are they sourced from, how are they grown, what are the fertilizers used. I think once you get into the roots, once you get into the nitty gritty of things, life in the kitchen becomes much more easier because you know where raw materials are coming from, and that makes cooking even more fun. And then you evolve as a good chef rather than just being a chef.
Well
Thank
said,
you so
chef.
much.
It is no longer a novel concept, actually. Veganism is
Absolutely.
evolving from a fringe movement to a mainstream choice associated with health, ethics, and eco sustainability. And the meteoric rise of plant based diets around the world is a proof that more than ever before, we are living in the age of veganism. So
Correct.
let's move on to our next question by Devyani. Devyani, please go ahead.
Yes, I would just like to begin with saying that it is an honor to interview you, and I'm just really lucky to be here. So my question for you is that Chef Jerson, the average time you spent in the kitchen was 14 hours a day. What methods did you use to learn different skills of cooking while still working full time?
Well, I learned cooking in a little different way compared to the other chefs. As I said, um, for me, cooking has always been an integral part of my life, and it was more of a way of my life rather than just a profession for me when I started cooking. Because for me, cooking came naturally because I always helped people in the kitchen, especially my mother, my sister, my elders. So for me, cooking came at a very early age. Not that cooking comes to me naturally, but then I learned cooking at a very, very early age, and I started as a dishwasher. How I learned cooking was a little different from the others. When I say that, what I mean is, in our times, there were nobody who would handhold you or other spoon feed you about things. I used to sneak into the kitchens, watch chefs cook, and then go home, practice it in my own kitchen. Our chefs, used to basically earn everything I learned from them. Every recipe wasn't shared so easily. Every technique wasn't given out so easily. Everything that you had to learn, you had to earn it. Today, you have the media at your disposal. You have books, you have the internet, you have Instagram. You name it, you have it. In the late 90s, early 2000s, that was not the case because there didn't even exist a smartphone, where you could go to Google and check out recipes. No. So when I left home at a very raw age of 17, I worked as a dishwasher on the cruise, and things were very different over there because you had people from different nationalities working, and it wasn't easy working with uh, different kinds of people because you gel with some, you don't gel with some. So I learned it the hard way. I used to wait and watch chefs cook, write down all the secret ingredients, write down all the secret techniques, practice it when I had the time, go home, practice it. Whenever I had a range free, I used to practice the same thing. Failed a lot of times, and then that's how I mastered it. And talking about the working hours in the kitchen, yeah, I mean, I still do spend a good 12 to 14 hours in the kitchen. But then, as they say, if you don't love what you do, you cannot do what you love. As simple as that. And it's imperative as a chef to love what you're doing, because if you don't love food, if you don't love the noise in the kitchen, if you don't love the hustle which goes around, if you don't love your customers, if you don't love your ingredients, if you don't love your fellow chefs, if you don't love your juniors, your seniors, your peers, everybody, you're not going to enjoy working in the kitchen. Kitchen is not an easy place to work, mind you. It's not an easy place because there's a lot happening in there. A lot of emotions go into the food. It's not just ingredients that go on a plate. It's a lots of emotions which go on the food. As I said, every plate has a story to tell. Every plate tells you a little bit about the chef. And I think it's been a wonderful journey being a chef. It's been a wonderful journey learning from so many people all across the world. It's been a wonderful journey teaching people how to cook, mentoring young students, budding chefs like you all. It's been a wonderful experience for me, and I'm highly indebted to food. I'm highly indebted to everyone who's taught me, who's helped me be what I am today. And I think the journey continues, the learning continues, and you never finish learning.
Uh, It is amazing to get to know about your journey, your dedication, even after a hectic day of working, to rise to the rank more capable of your intellect is truly inspiring. Thank you, Chef.
Thank you very much.
Well, it's always about finding the perfect balance between different priorities. And I'm sure it must have been difficult, you know, you must have faced a lot of hiccups in between, but also intriguing at the same time. Let's have a next question. Next question will be posed by Amya.
Good afternoon, Chef. I'm Amya. And before starting off with my question, I would just like to say that it's an honor to be here and have this opportunity to be interviewing you, because being a baking enthusiast myself, it's extremely interesting and extremely exciting to know somebody's journey from the same field that you're interested in. So, moving on to my question. With social media food blogging featuring a fusion of different cuisines and different dishes gaining popularity, do you think it is important to preserve the authenticity of dishes, or is it better to be experimental?
I think it's a mixture of both, to be honest with you. Uh, See, food basically offers access to different cultures, to different traditions, to different techniques of cooking, and create opportunities for sharing experiences, acquiring a taste of diverse cuisine, so on and so forth. I think, therefore, elevating and enriching traditional dishes aids in progression, preserving the techniques and stories about the origins of food, rather than altering guest perceptions of authenticity. So I think it's a mixture of both. And you asked me about authenticity of dishes, or is it better to be experimental, right? So at times being experimental, at times preserving the authenticity of dishes, both work. It all depends on the kind of clients you're serving, the kind of food you're serving, the kind of techniques you're using, and the kind of cuisines you're indulging into. But most of the times it is a 50-50 of both for me, because you cannot be serving food which doesn't have a tradition attached to it. You cannot be serving food which doesn't have a story attached to it. You cannot be serving food which is not experimental, and also serving food at the same time, makes life monotonous. It becomes too boring serving the same food. So a twist of taste and flavor is always appreciated, is always welcome. So 50-50 to both of them. Does that answer your question?
Yes, Chef, it does. Thank you for that answer.
Thank you very much.
Well, I think due to unprecedented upward trending of fusion style cooking, this has been a topic of much discussion over the recent years. And for some, I think it's evolved, and for some, it's a forced progression.
That's
So
right.
let's move on to our next question by Mannat. Mannat, please.
Yes, Chef. So I'm back for another question. And even though you have somewhat answered this, but I would love to know what your earliest memory in the kitchen is and how did this passion translate into a career for you?
That's a very interesting question. It takes me back to my younger days when I was, I think, 6 or 7, when I ended up helping my mother, helping my aunt, sisters. So I come from a family where um, everyone ended up becoming a doctor or an engineer, or diverse fields. And when I decided to be a chef, you had a lot of eyebrows being raised in my family. People doubted my capabilities of being a chef, because everyone thought, यार ये क्या बावर्ची बन के मिलने वाला है, and so on and so forth. There was a lot of chit chat would happen in the house. People started questioning my capabilities, my abilities. But then, it's all a matter of time. As I say, time heals everything. And I decided to do what I wanted to do and what I love the most. As I said, I come from a family of doctors, engineers, and professors. I didn't choose to be one of them. I always wanted to do what I love doing the most, and I think it's cooking, which really, the love for cooking, the passion for cooking, which made me what I am today. This question took me back to my earlier days when I was 6 or 7, and then help people in the catering communities, help people, just help them. I mean, just help them in cutting, chopping. I had no knowledge about what food meant then. I just, for the love of food, just used to get myself involved in anything and everything where food was concerned. I think gradually and eventually you develop a certain kind of liking towards something, and that's where the liking came from the home kitchen. So brings back memories of food being cooked together with my family members in the homes of my friends, being a member of the tasting panel for various events, even having no knowledge about food then. So wonderful days back then. Had no clue whatsoever that I would be a chef of this level someday. But then, as they say, yeah, I mean, thank you very much once again for that question.
Thank
Before
you so much.
it's,
Um,
yeah, it's been.
you've been talking about how the earliest memories are from when you were 6 or 7 years, when all you did was assist people because of the love for food. And even in your answers right now, we can actually hear how much emotions you put in every dish you make, and how much love you have for food. So that definitely speaks so highly of you as a chef, and it's amazing to be able to interview you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you know what, Manat, I mean, you cook food, okay? Everyone cooks at some point of their time, life. Somewhere or the other, someone might be cooking. If even someone doesn't like to cook, he would be forced to cook someday or the other. What I have realized over time is cooking is not just about cooking. It's a lot about yourself. There's a lot of emotions which go into the food. You try to make a vegetable curry when you're happy. You try to make the same curry when you're upset or when you're sad, and you see the difference. Use the same ingredients, use the same cooking techniques, use the same cooking ware for making the food. Do not change anything. Keep everything the same as it was by making it when you were happy, and make the same dish when you're upset or when you're sad, and see the difference between both the dishes. That's when you'll realize what I mean when I say a lot of emotions are attached with food. And it is true, because uh, when you're upset and when you cook food, I always tell my team members, if you're not feeling good about working in the kitchen today, so be it. Go home. It's okay. You don't need to be upset. You don't need to be angry when you're cooking, because that's going to be showing up in your food. When it goes to the customer, when it goes to your guest, or when it goes to your clients, he's not going to feel good about it, because he's going to know that someone's not happy about something, and that's the reason why the food isn't as good as it should be. So it's imperative to be happy. It's imperative to be in the best of your moods when you cook, because as I keep saying, and I will keep saying, every food has a story to tell. Every food tells you a little bit about the place it comes from, and from the kitchen it comes from, and the person who's made it. So make sure you're happy when you're cooking, and yeah, food will take care of itself on its own.
Definitely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, from making mistakes or burning batches to laughing with flour on our noses and that triumphant feeling of creating a masterpiece, it is these memories that stay with us. These memories
Absolutely.
make our kitchens a happy place, our happy place. So, moving on to the next question. Next question will be posed by Nilotma.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Chef Jerson, you have a very inspiring journey, and you yourself are a graduate from IHM Hyderabad. Having studied or aspiring to study from various IHMs, do you think the way colleges are preparing students today is influenced by the expectations with which hotels come for campus placements?
Yeah, I mean, see, look, as a hotelier, it's important to know what's being taught to students in college, because one fine day you're going to be having the same students working with you someday or the other. And it's also imperative for colleges to be in sync with the industry, with what's happening in and around the industry, because unless and until you're not aware of what are the latest trends in the industry, what are the latest trends in the hotel, it's going to be very difficult for students to rather get used to, or rather get acquainted with what's happening in the hotel. A lot of times we have students from various colleges coming in. Uh, the recipes, or rather the techniques being taught to them in colleges, sometimes match our expectations, sometimes they don't match our expectations. Can be for various reasons, can be for the infrastructure of the college, maybe they don't meet the standards, maybe the faculties are not trained enough, maybe sometimes the faculties are good enough, and that's where you get the better products. But I think most of the times it's important that colleges and hotels are in sync with each other, because unless and until you're not aware of what's happening in the industry, it would be very difficult for any college to train their students to meet the expectations of the hoteliers once they enter the industry. So So yeah, I think it's very very important for both of them to be on the same page and to be in sync with each other. And you we end up getting a lot of students every year, where the recipes differ from the hotel recipes, and then when you ask them why is a bechamel sauce off white in color, or why is a makhni gravy not red in color, you get a simple answer, हमारे college में faculty ने ऐसे ही सिखाया. So for that student, a makhni sauce or a makhni gravy or a bechamel sauce taught in college becomes the best makhni sauce or the best bechamel sauce, because he doesn't even know what exactly a makhni gravy looks like or a bechamel sauce looks like. So coming to the industry, working with us, doing the 6 month industrial training course, that's where that becomes an eye opener to a lot of students, to a lot of faculty members who also keep visiting hotels and learning what exactly are the changing trends in the industry and how to keep up pace with them. Because unless and until you don't do that, you're going to be ending up teaching wrong stuff to students. So it's imperative for all the faculties, it's imperative for all the institutes to be in sync with what's been happening in the industry. The industry keeps changing every single day. You have new techniques being evolving, you have new techniques coming up, new cooking processes, new ingredients be coming up. I'm sure if you go to colleges and ask students what exactly is a truffle, most of them wouldn't know about it. Most of them might know about it thanks to the social media, thanks to uh, the internet. But I think keeping up with the pace, keeping up with the trends is imperative. Even though it's not taught in college, you should be aware of what's happening in and around. And you've got a fantastic opportunity to keep up with the pace using social media, being on the internet. So nothing like it. Times are changing. It's a digital world we're living in. I mean, these weren't days weren't the same when we were learning to cook, when we were growing up. I think everyone's fortunate enough to have a smartphone, and you have the world in your hand if you have a smartphone. So it's easy access to knowledge, it's easy access to information, and you should make the best use out of it.
Thank you, Chef. And yes, social media has actually changed the way of learning in all aspects of life. That must have been a valuable insight for various aspirants. Thank you again.
Yep.
Well, recently, providing campus placement to successful students is considered an institutional obligation, I guess. And institutions are ranked based on the number of successful job placements provided on the campus for a given year long with the average salary offered. So I think recently campus placements is basically a hand-in-hand thing with the colleges. Anyways, our final question today will be posed by Gurvin. Over to you, Gurvin.
Hi, Chef. Hi again. First of all, just to thank you a lot for all the insights that you've been giving me, myself having worked in the kitchen and been a part of that hustle and bustle. A lot of what you said resonates with what I've experienced, and it's opened a lot of eyes. Um, so I myself have been trying to just keep my focus on getting my basics cleared, just starting off in the industry. It's just been 2 years into it, and just working my way up just by getting the basics right. So what do you suggest budding chefs like myself or newbies starting in the industry should look forward to in the coming years?
Well, see, I think a career in the culinary art industry is rewarding only if you evolve, only if you are creative, only if you are experimental, and only if you are persistent. Do not see your role or your profession as an obligation, number one, but rather remain inspired by all the cooking, be it any format. You have to be hungry to learn more. You have to always have a positive attitude. You always have to have a positive approach towards not just food but towards life. See, as I keep saying, it's not easy working in the kitchen. It's not easy being a chef. Today, if you ask most of them, I visit a lot of colleges every month, every week, almost every second day. And there's one common question I keep asking students when I visit colleges: why do you want to be a chef? How many of you want to be a chef? And you'll see the majority of the class raise their hand and say, I want to be a chef. And then if you ask someone, why do you want to be a chef? The simple answer will be, I want to be a chef because I want to come on TV. So you see how the mindset changes. Everybody wants to be a chef because they want to be a celebrity chef. It's it's imperative to know, it's important to learn that every celebrity chef, be it anybody in the world, they have gone through the grind, they have been there, they have done that, they have started from nowhere and they've gotten to somewhere. So everybody has been through the toughest of times. Everybody has done everything they had to do to be where they are today, and it's not easy. You don't become a celebrity chef overnight. You have to work hard, hard, hard. You have to really work hard. It's only after years of experience. It's only after failing a number of times. It's only after being extremely committed, dedicated, and passionate. That's where you get opportunities, and if you get the right opportunity at the right time, that's where destiny takes you, and then you shine. And when you shine like the brightest star in the sky. And it's all about opportunities at the right time. It's all about working extremely hard without expecting anything in return. Obviously, you work hard, you'll get the benefit of it. You work hard, you'll be rewarded for it in some form or the other. If not today, maybe some other day, but very, very soon you will be rewarded. Yes. So hard work is an integral part of every chef's life. You have to be passionate. You have to be dedicated. Forget about your social life. I mean, there's very little room for experimenting in one social life once you're a chef. I don't remember the last time I celebrated Christmas at home with my family. I think that's a faint memory now because I don't remember when was the last time I celebrated my own birthday at home or with my friends. I don't remember celebrating any festivals for that matter, be it Diwali, Holi, Christmas, anything. I don't remember celebrating any of these with my family. So there's a lot you need to sacrifice. Times are changing. Today's generation is a lot more different than what it was 7, 8 years back. When I was an industrial trainee, when I passed out way back in the year 2004. Times were different there. We couldn't look the chef in the eye and talk to him. We couldn't back answer him. We couldn't tell him I need to go home early. We didn't have the guts to do that. But you look at students of today. I mean, they ask you to leave early. They ask you for permission to leave early, and you say no, you cannot leave early. They'll say no, I want to leave early. So times are changing. You need to move with the time. You need to move ahead. You need to consider the generation gap, and this will continue. People every day there'll be new trends which would be evolving every day. There will be something or the other coming up. And you need to keep pace. You need to know what you're doing. You need to keep yourself updated. And I think social media is the best way of doing that. And just make sure you don't miss the bus, because if you don't keep yourself updated with what's happening around the world, if you don't keep yourself updating with the current generation, so-called millennials, it's going to be a tough time for all of us to survive and we do with what we're doing right now. So evolving is one. Number two is keeping up with the changing trends, keeping up with the changing times. And third is adjusting and adapting to the current situations, current circumstances, the current generation, and making it count together. Yeah, does that answer your question?
Yes, Chef, it does. Thank you so much for that. And I would really like to thank you for all the answers that you've given today. I mean, they've been like a wonderful book of knowledge in themselves. Thank you.
No worries. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot for that, and it's a pleasure listening to you, Chef. I would request Manna to say a few words.
With this, we have sadly come to the end of this exciting interview. And listening to Chef Jerson talk about his own culinary journey and the culinary industry in general has definitely been interesting for all of us. And so we would like to thank Chef Jerson for taking out time to join us for this interview.
Thank you very much to all of you. And should you guys need any kind of help, support, any kind of knowledge sharing by me again or anything whatsoever, be it anything under the sun, please feel free to look me up on Instagram, Facebook. I'm available almost everywhere on social media. You can WhatsApp me, you can call me, and if there's anything I can be of help to you, I would be more than happy to do that. Um, I think I always believe you grow when you share. Chefs who share, chefs who care are the best chefs in the world. There's nothing called as a secret recipe. Uh, Selfish and arrogant are those who do not share their secrets, who do not share their recipes, is what I always keep telling my team members. And the more you share, the more you learn, and the more you learn, the more you grow, the more you grow, the more you succeed. As simple as that. Well, to conclude, once again, I would like to thank the entire team of Billabong International High School, Bhopal, for having me over. It was a wonderful session with you all. Great learning experience. interacting with all of you. Thank you very, very much, Megha, for making this happen. And looking forward to more such sessions in the coming days. Saying that, wishing the entire alumni, all you budding chefs, all the success and happiness the industry can offer. All the very, very best. Take very good care of yourselves. Looking forward to seeing you all someday soon. Cheers.
Thank you so much, Chef Jerson, for spending a wonderful weekend with us. It couldn't have been better. And have a great day, Chef. Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
very,
being
very
here with
much.
us.
Thank you. Take care. Thank you.